Welcome, everyone, to the Whovians cast. I am your host, Matrixlord212, and I'm with Mike D. What's up, Mike?
Shit! God,
all right,
no, I gotta correct you. It's diluted D. It's not Mike D.
Oh, okay. Diluted D.
Diluted D. Oh, no.
Spotted any flies lately?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I've been away from the cast for a few days because I was taking care of, putting some little girls in their place, but that only took like about maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes of goofing around, and one of them ran out of a group chat with his tail between his legs.
That long? Wow, no.
No,
you're slipping. It usually takes 8 minutes.
Well, no, I told you I was goofing, and it's the ploy is like so transparent. It's so hilarious because even based on a couple of one particular person I'm talking about's cohorts, the one person's like very, very like envious of my alpha position with things, and
okay.
you can tell from their actions, without getting too specific of things, they know who they are. That they've tried to emulate things that were done on the Who crew, for example, by me, and they're trying to use that same sort of thing, to reach that sort of plateau in the community.
Yeah,
of being like up at the top, and or their perceivement of being at the top in the community, and they fail so desperately bad with doing that it's quite laughable and entertaining. But I mean, you got to be witty and have some humor, and above all else, you can't make false accusations or assertions about somebody that aren't true, because that's not funny. It's stupid.
Right. It is. So they tried to reboot the Who crew, you said? In a way.
It sounded to me like they were trying to desperately maintain relevance, is what it is. But no, it's it's what it comes down to. We see like a lot of people in the community. I was a little bit surprised by a couple of the people's behavior, because I thought they were kind of above that. About as you know, there are a lot of people in the community that are like infantilized little man children, and they're maybe like 19, breaking 20, but intellectually.
For the new people that don't know what we're talking about, you're talking about the Whovian community.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, we have new people watching the show all the time, so they don't know what's about.
Well,
but yeah,
it's been a long-standing thing within this community and a couple of other podcasts that there have been some particular sorts of mature levels of maturity and intellectualism and humor, and they don't quite cut the mustard when it comes to that.
Well, let me talk to you about the levels of maturity. I mean, how do you think the levels of maturity has been with the announcement of this woman, that Jodie Whittaker, that's playing the 13th Doctor? Do you think that now the community has gotten to be out of hand and more of a reason for everybody to slice each other's throats and go against each other, or no?
Well, much like the people I was referring to earlier, you have like little girls that all they can do is run their mouth about shit, and they got nothing to back it up with. So what they do is they'll say, well, everyone's entitled to their opinion about the casting, which, is fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But then if you take a course that is different than their opinion, and you present your assertions that are based on solid grounds as to why you're against maybe the casting of a female doctor at this point, they start acting like you fucking like killed one of their parents or something.
And that you're a so-called fan, you're not a real fan.
Yeah, and you see that in the social justice warrior like Nenny community also, where they're so for like, well, we need to be open-minded and all this other shit. But then when you're like, well, I just don't think it's the right particular time for this to happen, what they do is they like to turn it around and be like, oh, well, you're wrong about this and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, wait a minute. You just got done talking about entertaining other people's opinions and being open-minded. But yet, typical hypocrisy. And, when people, all else fails, they resort to certain tactics that are very transparent, that are just, they end up arguing with themselves and chasing their own tail, and they're unaware of it.
So who is this that's behind this agenda? That's wanting women to take over all these roles, that some roles they really couldn't or shouldn't take over. And again, I'm not saying that no women's qualified, but some of these characters are male and should not be female. And now we're even getting this talk of women want James Bond to be a female.
Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that.
Yes, and being that you're a huge James Bond fan,
Yeah.
how do you feel about that? What do you want to tell them, like, when they think that James Bond should be a woman? I mean, could you explain the character to them so that way, beyond the shadow of a doubt, they know that James Bond can't be a woman?
Well, comparing it to Doctor Who, as I've said before, it makes more sense in the Who franchise than it would in like a franchise like Bond or Jason Bourne, something like that, because due to the sci-fi elements and the nature of Doctor Who, it's within the realm of the story concept to change the sex of the Doctor to a degree. But with James Bond, it makes no sense because, I mean, for example, Bond has been married to a woman, and it's been something that's carried through different eras of the franchise. Roger Moore referenced it. Timothy Dalton referenced it. You know, George Lazenby was in the film where Bond got married. To make it a woman now, like, are they going to retcon that in some weird way and reference it? Like, you know, is Bond now like bisexual as a woman or a lesbian, or are they going to turn it to like she was married to a guy? Right. It makes no sense because Ian Fleming's original creation was a misogynist, you know, basically borderline sexist, sort of snobby, elitist male.
Right.
And Bond has always been, the Bond franchise has always catered to like a male demographic. So, and I mean, women watch Bond films also, but I'm saying it's primarily been like a male-centric fantasy figure sort of character. So to change that drastically, they're going to alienate a large demographic of what's been the base for their franchise for like decades now.
But are they allowed to do that? I mean, are they allowed contractually to? He's gone. He passed away, the creator. So they're allowed to alter that whole without, you know, his permission? I mean, is there a thing in the contract that they can never alter Bond? I mean, what?
Well, I'm not talking legally. I'm saying just the Bond is a product. Spider-Man's a product. Doctor Who's a product. They're selling a product to the populace. So for them to change that product so drastically, they're going to suffer ramifications as a result of that to a certain degree. Some good, some bad. But I mean, the question is the good going to overweigh the bad? Because, like, I mean, just taking a character like Bond and changing it, like I said, so drastically, it makes no sense. It's like, you know, when, like, Wonder Woman came out, the film. I'm not, like, a huge superhero fan. I didn't bother to go see it. And I'm not addressing... I
loved it. I thought it was one of the best movies I've seen.
I'm not knocking the film because I haven't seen it, and I'm admitting that. But what I am knocking is it would be kind of silly if they had, like, Matt Damon playing Wonder Woman in the sequel. You know, dressed up in that outfit and everything. I mean, like, you know, there's no point in that. Wonder Woman's a female. She's always been a female. So if the political climate were changed around and everything was like going male-centric that were females, people would be outraged over that because it's clearly absurd and it's really ridiculous.
If you've seen a male Ripley or a male Sarah Connor, or I mean a male Alice from Resident Evil, or I mean a male Mary Poppins. I mean, the list goes on of all the female roles.
The thing is, it's
that have been heroes.
Well, it's like what are they going to do with Bond next? Are they going to put Bond like in some female's bedroom and he's going to spend all night talking to her instead of trying to score with her? I mean, I forgot. I'm talking about somebody else, but you know.
But my thing is could this happen though? I know people are talking about it.
Yeah.
But who has the rights now of Bond, and would that be allowed to happen?
Well, Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson are the current producers of the Bond franchise. Barbara is the daughter of Cubby Broccoli, who was the long-running producer of the series since the beginning, along with Harry Saltzman, Harry was there with him up until Man with the Golden Gun, and then the very next film, Spy Who Loved Me, was just Cubby Broccoli. So Michael Wilson, Barbara Broccoli are the two producers. And it's a bit startling, I would say, because I know, like, over the last several days, I've been talking to some people about the fact that the producers had mentioned that they were always going to stay true to the Fleming creation.
Yes.
And then, and I still believe that's the case. I think that what they're doing now is just kind of maintaining relevance in the news, because I see now like everything that's being put out there article-wise is take whatever franchise you happen to want to talk about, and they just want to make a news blurb by putting it out there and saying something about, you know, XYZ character that used to be male is going to be a female now. It's just to get in the news.
Right.
But, and also Barbara Broccoli is going to be the producer of a new spy series that Blake Lively's the actress that's going to be in. It's called Rhythm Section. And I find it a little difficult to comprehend that they're going to have two contending female-centric lead role spy series out at the same time. Right.
So maybe it's not James Bond. It's just something that's a nod to James Bond, but not really. You know, where they're Blake Lively is like a James Bond character, right?
Blake Lively's character is going to be a totally new character, from what I understand, and it's not going to be Bond. But I mean, it just doesn't seem to make sense. I know the lady that was in Suicide Squad. Her name's like Cara Delevingne or something like that.
Margot Robbie.
No,
Clara Delevingne or something, or whatever.
Yeah, whatever her name is. I didn't see Suicide Squad, so I'm not familiar with her pronunciation of her name. But that I saw in the news, like in the last 24 hours, that they talked about kind of throwing her name out there as like a female Bond. And I mean, for God's sake, keep Charlize Theron away from that role. I mean, you know, she's in Atomic Blonde, whatever. All of a sudden, everyone's like, oh wow, you know, she's like a female 007. We need to put her in the franchise. And I not to hate too much on people that have that opinion, but I mean, that's really just stupid, thinking that Charlize Theron should be Bond. I mean, it's really just dumb.
But I mean, and this is, I know we're going off topic of Doctor Who, but it is related to the whole thing about making the Doctor a woman. What next for this agenda? I mean, do you turn Jesus Christ female, or I mean, seriously, is Santa Claus a woman now? Oh, wait, they are doing that because Melissa McCarthy is going to be a female Santa Claus, which is out next year. I'm sorry. But besides that, are they going to turn they're turning the Rocketeer into a woman. They're doing Ocean's 8. And Splash they're remaking, where the mermaid's going to be male and the Tom Hanks lead role is going to be female. So I guess it's starting, the domino effect is happening, and they're starting to change everything. I mean, Dr. Smith from Lost in Space is going to be a female now. So, I don't know. Will it end?
Well, the interesting thing that I've been hearing in the community is, since they've cast a female in the role as 13, that some of the initial apprehension, it seems like, is getting diluted a bit now, because people are trying to conform within this community to other people's opinions, when they really, you can pretty much tell that they really don't believe what they're saying. They're just kind of going along to get along. And I really don't take seriously that, because they were so against a female doctor, and they've been kind of influenced by, you know, other people in the community, other hosts of the community, things like that, into kind of falling into like just going along with the opinion. And it's a little sad to see people not really just speak the truth and just be honest about what they really think about stuff.
I mean, what's the big deal, to be honest? I mean, you don't get that nice interview from the BBC with an actor and actress? Is that what it is? I mean, wouldn't you rather your show be genuine and you say, hey, I'm against the doctor being a woman, and that's it? Like, I'm not looking for a popularity contest. I didn't agree with it. A lot of people said they saw my reaction. They started cracking up because I started flipping out, cursing, throwing things. And that was a genuine, real reaction, because I was actually very angry. Beyond angry, I mean, you could hear me from like down the block, I heard. So it's like, you know, Sharon heard me from the other room. It's like something was going on. I mean, I was pissed, you know, and I was still pissed days after. And, you know, maybe I'm not as pissed, but I'm still angry about it. I mean, I'm not going to get rid of all my stuff, and I'm not going to stop watching the show because, like I explained, Doctor Who has been part of my life since I had my first conscious thought, basically, at age 5, before I even knew my ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. So if I eliminate Doctor Who from my life, it's like cutting my own arms off. I mean, it's part of my body. It's part of my psyche. It's part of everything. So I can't cut it out.
Some of these people just have gotten mental, because I read a comment that somebody had put on one of your videos last week that they were equating the people on the cast as being Nazis because they just had an opinion that they were against whatever, a female doctor. My main thing was how they pushed Capaldi out, and then they're bringing in the female, like that's going to clear up the problems with the show rather than addressing the real problem, which has been the writing and the creative mind behind running the show, you know, which is Moffat. I think,
and they're also covering up the age discrimination against Capaldi.
Yeah, and that's true. Yeah, so they forget about that now. That's been swept under the rug, and the same, like, you know, little whining little bitches were the ones who came out of the woodwork, and they were talking about Peter, like, oh, he's too old to be the doctor, and then you like somebody like one of us says something about having an issue with the way that they pushed him out, and then they got a female doctor, and all of a sudden, like, we're Nazis because of the opinion based on that.
Right.
I mean, I don't believe we were supporting gassing people or anything.
No, they don't know what Nazis is. It's a stupid generation that they just throw that line out there like they know what the Nazis are, but they're looking at footnotes and stuff. They don't know anything. And the whole thing is that now another thing that makes no sense is now there is like a chart of rules when they're talking about Doctor Who, and it's like, okay, we have to have the companion be male. Why? Why doesn't the companion have to be male? Why would he change? He's a man in a woman's body. It's not going to change. Why would he change and have men companions now? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Even when he was dying and he was coming back to life, the only male that was mentioned calling out the Doctor was Captain Jack. Other than that, his whole New Who history, he forgot Mickey Smith. He forgot friggin' Rory. I mean, come on. Not even Nardole he remembered in that dream sequence or whatever. And even had Missy calling out his name too. So all the women. Women. So what the hell would you do that now? Does that mean he changes completely as a woman and likes men or whatever? And then the other thing about people saying, well, the Doctor is genderless. He has nothing down there. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're an expert. You look down his pants? I mean, like, seriously. These people are morons that they're telling me about Gallifreyan physiology when they're not even watching the show as long as I have, and they're an expert all of a sudden. They're like, oh, there's 128 different sexual genders. Yeah, okay. No, male and female is a universal.
Well, you know as well as I do, not even speaking of Doctor Who, but when these sorts of little bitches get their back against the wall and their tail between their legs, they just resort to, like, making up shit that's not even true, just so that they can desperately grab onto something. That's all it is. I mean, you know, it's the same action in this community, regardless of what the topic is. That's just, you see the same behavior repeated. When they got nothing factual to assert, just start making up bullshit. That's like what they do. And the thing with this double standard that they have, it's like they're saying that the companion needs to be male now because the lead is female. Well, that's kind of sexist, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
I mean, the Doctor, when he was a male, traveled with a male companion. Jamie with Patrick Troughton. You know, Turlough with Davison.
Ben with the first Doctor.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, no one thought anything was
Ian
going
Chesterton,
on.
Yeah.
Harry Sullivan. I mean, people didn't think anything weird was going on there, and Jamie was one of the best companions.
Yeah.
With Doctor too. So it's kind of like they want to have it their way, and if you disagree, then they're just going to, like, put some sort of label.
Right.
And
well, the bullshit thing come up too now. And again, people are quoting me like I don't know what the fuck happened in the 80s. Like, I wasn't watching the fucking show or the news or anything. And I had no clue that Tom Baker said, I congratulate any man or woman that takes over the role. I remember what he fucking said back then. I know he said it. He's an actor. That's playing the Doctor.
Before I forget it, I watched, there was another podcast host that they went out of their way and brought up the fact of some of the people within the show that had been former actors on the show, stating that they were so happy with it being a female finally, yay, everything.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that they neglected to point out one of the most important people that's ever been on the show, Peter Davison, who actually played the Doctor,
absolutely.
who's completely against a female Doctor, from what he actually has been quoted as saying as much. But they didn't bother to report that.
And a lot of people know that I don't get busy on my Facebook page because it's very rare for me to post stuff or even get a discussion going because I feel that that's not the place to do it. You know, I'd rather do it on podcasts, whatever. But I decided to share the Peter Davison article on my Facebook page, which it prompted a discussion from people that I haven't talked to for like a year or so. People that I know that were friends. I mean, I didn't really hang out with them. I know them, and, you know, you're my friend, all right. I see you from time to time, okay. And the discussion got very, very weird and very, very ugly. I mean, one of the things was, you know, I was like, well, you're not going to turn Wonder Woman into a male. And then someone brought up that, well, they did. Marvel did do a male Wonder Woman called Wonder Man. And then I'm like, no. Simon Williams is an actor, and he's an asshole, an egotistical, sanctimonious idiot that he's selfish, he's a jerk, very far attitudes from Wonder Woman. He's not an Amazonian. He's living in California, okay? And he has kinetic energy as his powers, okay? He doesn't have people tell the truth with a lasso, doesn't have a sword, doesn't have a shield. He becomes energy. The only thing that he shares with Wonder Woman is the Wonder name. But as far as that goes, no, he's not the male version of Wonder Woman, which is reality. I mean, if you don't know the character, don't start saying that stuff on there. But okay, I'll give it that. They were trying to bring that as a point. You know, and then they bring up the thing, well, the creators had doctors about change and regeneration, and it's been established that, you know, they could become women, and the creators were always going to do it. First of all, the creators never did it, okay, because they didn't have the balls to do it. They didn't do it, and if they did it, it would have been canceled. So it may have been one of those ideas that they had in the back of their head, stuff that they just don't use. You know, like there's a lot of things that we learned about different characters when they created things, and they're like, oh, they didn't make Spider-Man have handmade webs, like, because then they think he's like a creature, like a monster. He's shooting webs from his arms. That's scary. So we made him intelligent, made him his own web shooters, right? So they did have ideas, but they didn't implement them. So that may have been a thing that they thought about, but nobody ever did it. And because nobody ever did it, it wasn't canon. It was never mentioned. Nobody called anybody a time lady that I remember in the classic series. And if anybody did, show it to me because I don't remember it. But that whole time lady thing was a thing brought up by Missy because there's no time ladies labeled that way. They were all time lords. And if you don't believe me, watch Dr. Falls because the doctor says whether you're a man or a woman on Gallifrey, you're called a time lord. But these people just are twisting the truth, twisting things to try to get their agenda where they're right, and they're not right.
Well, where you see it being a problem is they're not creating their own characters because, you know, like if you're saying you want to do something to empower women as far as like taking a character and having that character be popular as a good symbol for like young ladies or whatever watching a show, create your own original character and make them, and work for it and earn that. Don't take a character because that's not empowering to women. If you're just taking something, you know, if you make Indiana Jones a woman, you know, but like
which they kind of have Tomb Raider if you think about it. But yeah,
but see, I respect that because
it's
they took a concept. You can take a Bond concept just like you took Indiana Jones and create your own franchise with a new character.
Correct.
But I mean, going back and just replacing a character and just doing gimmick casting as a female, that's not empowering your movement in any way.
And then the comment section are like, I don't understand. This guy loves Ghostbusters, the female Ghostbusters. How does this make any sense? Well, first of all the female Ghostbusters are original new characters. Nobody turned Peter Venkman into a woman. Nobody turned Winston Zedmore into a woman. Nobody turned Egon Spangler. Ray Stantz. Nobody. They never turned them into women. These are different characters in a different universe. And I loved it.
Was the character Annie Potts played in the original Ghostbusters? What did Chris Hemsworth maintain the name, or was it a different character?
No, completely different character.
Okay, well, yeah, well, there you go.
And by the way, Annie Potts was intelligent. You know, she may act snotty or whatever, but she was intelligent. He was purely stupid.
Well, they had to make the only male character centric in that movie like a dope, because
also the mayor too, who's stupid too. All the guys were stupid in the movie, basically. Every guy that was in that movie was stupid. There was not one intelligent guy in it.
You know, when speaking of Charlize Theron, in Mad Max, she wasn't Mad Max. She was a totally different character, and she was a badass. She
was great.
But she didn't need to be Mad Max or Mad Maxine or whatever the fuck you wanted to call her.
No.
And I see it as like a fad now. They're going through a fad. It's like some sort of phase, and it's going to backfire on them.
But then also I got some women on there. They're saying, "How dare you think that a woman's not qualified enough to be the doctor?" First of all, it's like this thing like they're fighting breaking glass ceilings or stuff like that.
It's about the character, not about the actor.
All, you're making it like there's no female characters that have been ever popular in history. There's been tons since I was a kid. Princess Leia, hello, friggin' Sarah Connor, Ellen Ripley. I mean, come on, Linda Hamilton, Sigourney Weaver.
Well, even Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween. I mean, most of the people that survive in horror films are the females. They're the main heroines of the franchises. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street.
And the thing that these people, some of them don't even watch Doctor Who. That's the thing. And they're like, we demand to have the right to have a doctor, and you don't even know what the Doctor is.
I'm gonna read some titles of movies, just a short handful: Halloween, Terminator, Alien, and Aliens. Are these not some of our all-time favorite movies?
Yes.
And they're led by females. They're the females of the heroes. So you can't be called a sexist when we were fans like decades ago of these films before all this political correct bullshit started. So I mean, like it's so easy to do in all these cases, it's easy to shoot down the bullshit and get to the facts. And when you look at the actual facts, rather than what's being asserted by these assholes, it's absurd, and it's an embarrassment to their platform that they're trying to make a point from, which there is no point. It's just false.
I mean, we had Helen Slater as Supergirl. Now, while the movie didn't do that great, we did have a Supergirl movie.
Yeah.
Jaws Revenge, which was the fourth Jaws, the hero of that was the wife, if you remember. And Michael Caine wasn't even the main character of that. She was. That she stopped Jaws herself.
Well, look at these other characters.
Catherine Janeway on Voyager, the captain of Voyager.
Oh yeah, before I forget about it,
Kieran Reese in Deep Space Nine.
When I heard one of these other podcasts the other day, they brought up the Janeway point, and the whole focal point of a comparison between a female doctor and Janeway. Janeway wasn't playing Captain Kirk. She was her own character. She was Captain Janeway.
Yes.
You can't compare that to another character that's already been established as a male.
Yep.
So it's like are you so retarded you don't understand that your point is invalid? I mean, even when you reciprocate it back to them, and you don't name call, you're just saying, hey, look, do you not see the fallacy in your logic you're trying to employ here? It's not there.
And again, the crazy thing is that people are so passionate about it, and it's like there's nothing else going on in their life that, like, they're just wasting time about the subject that I don't even know why they're part of the conversation if they don't even watch the show. Why do you care? I've been watching the show, you haven't, and I know that for a fact.
I'm going to say something that's a little bit hurtful probably to some people, but I really don't care. I think a lot of these people are kind of living vicariously through the show, and I think it's because they've never had a girlfriend, or they don't have a girlfriend, and they're like, well, the doctor's kind of like my hero, make it a woman, and it'll kind of be like a pseudo girlfriend type role for them to like plug them into the show even that much more. And that's really sad because there are real women out there in the world that you can actually go out and like have a girlfriend and not have to live vicariously through a fictional character.
Who do you think was the lead in The Wizard of Oz? It was Dorothy. Hello? I mean, there's been tons of stuff. Mary Poppins, tons of stuff. Alice in Wonderland. It hasn't been that women have been held back and trying to break through that glass ceiling. That whole concept of glass ceiling thing is a bullshit, made-up thing by someone that don't know what they're talking about because they want to make a cause for them to magnify the amount of movies that women take over.
Well, Ripley and Sarah Connor were both badass women, too. They weren't just like helpless women that happened to be the heroes of the film. They were out there. They were like out there kicking more ass than the guys were in the films.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, like it would make as much sense to go back and replace Ripley with like James Franco or something, you know, playing Ripley. Yeah. It's stupid.
So there was never a struggle for women to get lead roles in anything, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know what this fake imagery is, but the problem is it's not going to stop. And what's going to happen? They even tried this in Marvel Comics, and I've talked about this.
They failed.
They failed. They failed. They said they failed. And what's going to happen is they're going to do this all. And all these people that are all so happy about a female doctor are not going to watch it because they're just all fake. Most of them are fake. They're not going to be there for the ratings. And you're like, well, where are you? Where are you? Because the show's going to get canceled because everybody is just spectators, mostly. There may be some that will watch it, but most of them won't. I've never heard these people ever in any of the 1,080 casts that we've had on The Real Whovians. I've never seen one of these people comment. I've never seen in all the news outlets that I've gone to for news and everything, even in the forums, I haven't seen any of these people post about it ever. And now they're coming out. And it's like they were just born into it. No, I haven't heard you people exist at all. And now all of a sudden, you don't even know what happened in the finale or Series 10, but you want a female doctor. All right. You know what? Make Grey's Anatomy all men then. Okay? Now, how about your show for that? Want to change stuff? Why don't you make all the women roles go to men roles then? Why don't you do that? It's only fair. I mean, men and women are equal, right? So why don't you switch all the women roles to men and see what happens?
Well, even something we talked about Magnum P.I. Casting a female. That would be fine if that was like Thomas Magnum's like niece or a daughter possibly or something, but just make a different character. And I mean,
yeah, you're not going to call her Thomas Magnum.
Yeah,
but they will.
Well, and I mean, why even like? There's no creativity put into the name. Also, like they're talking about, oh, James Bond's going to be Jane Bond or something. It's why just as a derivative, you know, some sort of like version of the name, you know, you're going to change. I mean, that makes no sense.
Look at when they did that weird takeoff of Knight Rider and they made the voice of the car a woman, right? They made the lead like a woman. It failed. People didn't like it. They've done plenty of shows. Cleopatra 25.
No one wants to hear a woman trying to critique their driving as a reason why that didn't work out. You know, you can't have Kit telling Michael Knight like how to drive and shit.
Remington Steele, that was the behind Remington Steele was the woman. She's the one that had was the whole thing behind it.
I never watched that. Was it
Remington Steele? You never watched Remington Steele?
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with the show, but I never watched it. So
yeah, she created a fictional character called Remington Steele, and then this guy just showed up. He's Remington Steele.
Well, why don't they do Charlie's Angels and make them a bunch of like flaming queens or something? Make them guys,
right? I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen is, just like everything comes to an end. Just as the doctor said, everything ends, everything ends. Even Sarah Jane said, everything has its time and everything must end. And what's going to happen is they're going to put the stuff out. Some stuff may be good, some stuff will fail, and then in like 2 years it will be over.
Well, the thing is, like the very same little bitch boys that you hear that were talking about how Capaldi was such a great doctor because he was more in line with the classic Doctor series. that they love Capaldi, they hated on the fangirls that were like giving him ageism shit and stuff in the role. They're all about like, oh, now the show needs to all be about change. Like they're all against that all of a sudden, you know. Yeah. But yet you never hear them complain about how they pushed Peter out of the role. They're all about
nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about how angry they are that age discrimination. Nobody's doing stories on it. There's nothing in the news about it. It's almost as if it's blocked every time somebody talks about it. And how can you be traditional Doctor Who and then you're not going with tradition? That makes no sense. I honestly think some of these shows, and again, I'm not mentioning any podcast names, and don't assume I'm talking about you, but I honestly think people are looking for the interviews. And again, I do apologize for the vulgarity, but they're looking to be so far up somebody's ass that when they open up their mouth, the head pops out because they want the interview. They want to, tell them what they want to hear so they can get this person on their show. They praise us all the time, so of course we'll be on your show. Of course. And it's not genuine. It's not. Mike, I'm going to let you talk for a few minutes. I got somebody at the door. So go ahead.
Well, okay. This stuff with the female doctor, it's not as much about the fact that it's a female in the total equation as it is the fact that, like I was talking about, and like we were talking about earlier, the fact that everyone was so excited that after, or think what you will of like David Tennant and Matt Smith, after those youngish doctors were in the role, the pretty boys, and then they get someone like Peter in there. That's prominently what you heard more than anything, was the fact that people were more excited about hearing that, oh, okay, this guy, he's like a legit actor, great actor. They've seen roles he's been in. He's going to be like an intense doctor. He's more in step, as I said, with the classic series. He looks like more doctor-ish, if you will, than really any of the doctors we've had in the new series since it came back in 2005. And then you started to hear like these complaints about the fact that Capaldi's older than Tennant and Smith. And as we discussed before, we figured that we hear that Peter suspiciously all of a sudden, after talking about the fact he was wanting to stay in the role for so long, like literally a week or two later comes out and just drops a bomb on the whole community and says that he's just going to be quitting the series. And everyone knew that was a bit suspicious that was going to happen like that. But just like we discussed on here, and what the overwhelming consensus was, is that he was just going to be pushed out for like a younger male doctor to get back to the way that they had the series with the Tennant and Smith eras. But I'm not sure exactly what happened. I don't know how much say-so Chibnall had in the overall casting. There's been some things I've read where Chibnall said that he was going to always go with the female doctor. I don't know if that's true or not, but if so, that kind of takes away from the argument that we've been hearing that's been put up there about the fact that they're just going to go with whoever the better actor or actress is. They're not going to be like looking to cast based on some sort of gimmick sexist sort of thing. So I know there are a lot of people in the community, like Joe said, Old Doc, and like Stephen Price, and people that are just done with the show. And I'm one of those people. I mean, I was checking out before they even cast the female doctor. I just kind of got tired of the whole thing. And especially the way that they pushed Peter out. And I just kind of saw the way that they were going with things. So, I mean, people want to stick around with the show and support the show. That's cool. I think that's great. If they're for that, I just prominently more than anything, I just really don't give too much a shit about the show in general right now. So it's not a big deal to me. I just didn't like what they've done to Peter, showing him the door. And it seems like they're trying this whole sort of political correct thing going on now with having the female doctor. And from what I've seen in the community, the majority of the females are against having a female doctor that are actually fans of the show. And the loud voices, the vocal minority, if you will, are the ones who are talking about the fact that, oh, they think it's like fantastic that they finally got a female doctor now. And it's kind of like their attitude is they're sticking it to the series. these people don't sound like people that are real true fans of like Doctor Who, that have been like really invested in the show. Not even like as far back as the classic series, but when I'm saying invested, I mean like they don't really have any sort of allegiance to the show. They're not very involved with being fans, buying a lot of merchandise. They're just kind of like political activists in a way, that are just wanting to see that, well, hey, we came and we conquered yet another show or another film franchise, and we won because we made it a woman. And they're not going to stick around and watch the show. They're not going to be the ones buying the merchandise that comes out. So really, in the end, it's going to be interesting to see if this is going to actually be a check in the win column or in the lose column for them. So I hope people that do stick around enjoy the product they're given. You know, maybe she'll be like the best Doctor of the new series, surpassing David Tennant. I guess time will tell, but it just it seems like just a bad turn at the moment for the way that the show is headed with things. So I guess we will have a little dead air until Joe returns.
You're not talking.
Yeah, it's only been less than a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going on, just kind of giving you an overview of the whole thing about that, you know, hopefully people that stick around with the show enjoy the product they're given. That,
right.
And I made the point about the fact that the people that seem to be the most, they're the vocal minority, are the ones who are not really invested in the show to any degree. Not even meaning like they've been around since the classic series, but even since the new series came out, that they're not invested in it in any way. They're just are coming along, making a political statement, and they're going to move along. They just want to check a box that, hey, we came and we destroyed this series, or we made our mark on it by making this political statement and move on.
And they don't care if it lives or dies. They just got to do what they got to do, and then they say, "Oh, it was a sucky show anyway, but we did our best." That's what's probably going to happen.
That's why they want to go after Bond, because the Bond series, like, I mean, look at what he's a figurehead for. This is like a sexist, misogynist character that's very alpha male, and just like in society, they're trying to feminize males. They're trying to make it cool, like, you know, don't be so macho. You know, you need to be more like hipstery. You need to be more feminine.
So what are you gonna? If you have a woman that sleeps around, she's gonna be labeled something else. So why would you want to have that in a movie?
Well, and that's stupid also, because they're all for like, well, a guy can sleep around and be a man-ho, but if a woman does it, it's looked upon with the stigma. That's what they claim.
So they want to change it, and they want to make it that, oh no, women are not that anymore. They can just do it like guys, and it's just.
Well, they'll say.
Okay.
Well, they'll say, oh, great, that's empowering for her to be like, you know, a hoe. And I mean, I'm all for hoes. I mean, you know, that's cool with me. I mean, but
oh my God.
You know, like
try not to use the word, but okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, hoe's a hoe. I mean, but it's just one of those things where, you know, I don't slight somebody for like, you know, hey, great, man. Like, if they weren't hoes, I wouldn't have had, you know, the hoes I've had with things. So, I mean, you need hoes out there to do what they do. And I don't look down upon that. But
let me change the subject. I want to get really focused on Doctor Who now, instead of all the different things that are changing from the male to a woman role.
Right.
Speaking about Jodie Whittaker. Now, I haven't really seen anything she's done. Have you seen her anything she's done? They said that she was in the movie Attack the Block.
I have not seen that. I haven't watched Broadchurch. I didn't really give a shit about that.
Okay.
So
we haven't seen anything she's done, but I mean, like, people are talking about the qualifications of her to be the Doctor, and now it's not. I think it's a really good chance to be hired as a Doctor if you worked with Chris Chibnall before in Broadchurch. I mean, that's, to me, it's like, come on. I mean, he knew who he wanted to have. Stop and make these fake news about They're casting for the role. They're really looking at so many different contenders. No, they're not. She was what he said was he was always going to pick her. So why even lie to like all these Doctor Who pages that people are really trying hard for the role? And then from what we heard recently is that no male had auditioned for the part because it wasn't allowed.
Yeah,
they only wanted women.
When you were off air, I brought that up, and I said that I had heard something about that, but I didn't know, wasn't able to confirm for myself what the actual truth was in that assertion. But I had heard that they had said that Chibnall, that they didn't consider males, that it was just going to be all females, which kind of flies in the face of the whole, well, you know, we're going to make this whole drastic change to Doctor Who. And didn't we hear like all of this stuff about the fact that it was going to be about who the best actor / actress was? That kind of defeats their whole assertion, you know, which is just
like Moffat. Moffat knew that he was always going to pick Capaldi. So all this bull crap about them looking for the Doctor was always Capaldi. So Chibnall, here's the thing that I'm annoyed against. If you're trying to make it that they should do both interviews for men and women, right? How could you say she's the best woman for the job? You know, the best person for the job, meaning that it's against her and men, and she was so fabulous that they had to choose a woman. That was never the case. From what we understand, there was no men that tried out for the role. So how could she be the best person for it if they never gave anybody else a chance? Especially even the women. If he already had it in his head that she was always the Doctor, then how the hell did anybody get a chance? That's my point. Why put fake news out there that you have many men or women trying out for the role if it was always fixed? And again, it's fine that it's fixed because Chris Chibnall could do whatever he wants as a showrunner, but don't bullshit about it. Don't lie about it. Even the lie that the BBC are definitely not doing a woman, don't lie. Don't lie. You're not lying it out there.
Well, it's like they're having a race and they're saying, well, you know, we're not for a man winning the race. It's if it's the best man or the best woman. But yet everyone that's entered the race that they have out there on the track are all females. I mean, you know.
I wish her luck, but what if she sucks horribly? Then what? Because all these plans failed, and they think that this is the divining thing that's going to save the show, is making it. Now, what if that fails? What are you going to do then? You're going to cancel the show, or are you going to make her regenerate? And the thing is, too, I have a feeling that, let's say she's okay or she does great or whatever, she's not regenerating into a male. She's going to regenerate into another female. We may have a thing where there's going to be a female in the role for a long time.
Well, the one of the other hosts made a comment that reminds me about, they said that Tom Baker quoted saying that no Doctor has failed that they've had in the role. Well, yeah, they have, because that's why, like, the series got canceled in '89. You know, that's why they had to replace Colin Baker also, is because, I mean, he got fired. So how can you say no one's lost in a role when they got their ass fired from it?
And again, I don't blame Sylvester McCoy for getting the show canceled.
I like both of them. I like both of them.
I blame the time slots. They kept switching around the time slots so much with Sylvester McCoy that how the hell would you know when Doctor was on in the first place? You know, and Colin Baker got shitty scripts, but I wasn't crazy about his Doctor, you know? And I said that to you. I said if there's one Doctor I'm not crazy about, that's him, you know? But whatever.
It's just a lot of, at this point, it's a lot of people. We'll see how it plays out. I'm sure you're going to have a lot. There are a lot more followers than leaders. There are a lot more people that are just going to go along with the agenda just so they can get along with everyone else and not have their own thoughts or opinions about stuff. So they're just going to agree and go, well, let's see how it works out. And yeah, I'm not going to, predictably, they're just being beta males, fucking following, towing the fucking agenda line, political agenda line, and not fucking being man, standing up for like what they think about something. And
I want to tell you, like, a lot of people are like, well, good, leave. The Whovian community won't miss you. First of all, I'm not trying to be an ego here, okay? But between me and a whole bunch of people, like, the Whovian community was very small before we came along. And then all of a sudden it boomed into all this huge thing, okay? I worked really hard to make this Whovian community, along with a whole bunch of others, to be what it is, all right? So if you had absence of all these people that left, you're gonna see the difference with the podcasting, with the ratings. I mean, right now I run 7 Facebook pages, and I felt, well, you know what? Even though I don't like it, I can't be a jerk off, and I can't be like, that's not fair to all these people that join Doctor Who pages. And I should give a little more respect to the show too, because it's been a part of my life since I was 5. So I should give it a chance and watch her and see what happens. I mean, I'm not gonna get all the time what I want, and I'm not gonna be a baby about it. So I'm gonna watch it, but I'm gonna tell you, if I don't like her, you will hear my mouth about it, just like you heard my mouth about Series 10. And if it happens, and if it gets canceled, I will bring that to everybody's attention. Mark my words. But I don't want the show canceled. I want the show to live on. But Matrixlord212 right here is not going to stop doing podcasts if Doctor went off the air. I'm still going to do the Everything Show and everything else, because the channel has evolved beyond that. Where originally it was just Doctor Who stuff. Now it's more than that. So, I do want Doctor to be around for a long time. Really do. But, we may not have that luxury.
I've given up on Walking Dead, for example. I'm not really interested in watching it anymore. It's got nothing to do with the female lead or anything. There's certain points with certain shows or whatever, I just don't give a shit anymore about if they're ongoing, and they're just kind of being repetitious with things. And
I mean, what's next with Walking Dead? You're going to make female, leaders and stuff? With that, too? There's not going to be Negan. There's going to be all... I mean, I guess they did that in the comics now, because the lead villain is a female now.
If I were still watching the show, I wouldn't care if they had a female lead. It's just, don't make Negan a female next season when the character's a male. That's
right.
Just stupid. Right. But I mean, a lot of these people are not, they're not very well thought out. There are a lot of those people in the community.
What do you care if somebody yells at you and stuff? Tell your freaking true opinion. Who gives a shit? Why would you make a fake opinion of yourself to please other people? If you don't like it, you don't like it. Who gives a shit what anybody says? You think I give a shit what anybody says? I really don't. And there's nothing personal against anybody individually or anybody, but if I don't like anything or something, I'm going to say it, and that's genuine. Why do I want to live in a world, right, where all I hear is, this is fantastic, this is great, this is fantastic, this is great, this is fantastic. No, it's not. If I don't see one negative thing about something, I think it's fake, because it's all phony baloney. You mean to tell me all these people, like the Doctor Who fan show and all that stuff, they loved every single effing episode of Doctor Who? They're all favorites? You like every single actor that comes on that show? Everybody?
10 out of 10.
That's ridiculous. It's fake. I got to tell you, if I don't hear it, that somebody says something that I like, and I'm not saying that, it has to be, people that don't like the episodes. I mean, the thing is, that's why I don't like boring ass shows, podcasts, and fake stuff. If all I see them smiling with the face, you're the greatest. It's fake. I know it's fake. Come on. You really want that interview with Jodie Whittaker? You want to lie through your ass about her? If I was an actor, I'd want somebody tell me the truth. If I sucked or some shit, I would respect that person more rather than hear the fake shit.
Some of these people, this show is their lives. They never leave the basement of their house or their parents' house, and it's like, they fucking live and breathe Doctor Who, and being a fan of the show is fine, but it's not really healthy. It's go out and fucking get a life. Succeed at something in your lives. Don't just be wrapped up in a show all fucking day and never fucking step away from your computer, from off-air chats and fucking it's all day long. Some of these people, all they do is talk about Doctor Who on off-air chats and fucking gossip about shit and make up fake rumors and shit, and it's just get a life, you fucking losers. Jesus.
Look, let the show last a long time, but don't anybody call anybody fake fans.
Yeah.
Because I have a different choice. Grow the fuck up. Okay?
Well, is old Doc a fake fan? Is Stephen Price?
I gotta tell you, we are having a special podcast on Saturday morning with old Doc is coming back for this one. Stephen Price, some old favorites, And they're going to be speaking about how they're leaving the show, and they're getting rid of their merchandise and why it is, and stuff like that. And they are as true fans as you could possibly get. Real Whovians, true Whovians, and people calling them so-called fans. Are you kidding? You know how many times Capaldi met somebody, or took pictures with somebody, or how many conventions he went to? More than years that people are alive, probably. I mean, come on. And you're going to call these people fake fans or so-called fans. Get out of here. So we're going to have a nice podcast on Saturday morning. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, they tried to. One of the things that the Nazi cunt mentioned, the little twit girl that left a comment, said something about that apparently like there's some sort of like age discrimination thing going on where like if you're a fan and you happen to be like above the age of like 30 or 40, then you're not plugged into like the young hipster sort of kids that are watching the show.
Yeah, they want all the fans out. Get out. We took over now. Like all the young people. But
then they accuse you of not being a real fan, and it's like, I mean, like, okay, like, wow, how's that for stupid?
Listen, it is what it is.
It's not even to be taken seriously, but extremely laughable.
Well, look at the schmuck.
Hold on a minute. When somebody's telling you that you're not a real fan of Doctor Who, and they're like some like little, 18-year-old kid who, has no life, no girlfriend, nothing going on in their life of any value, and they're like their only thing that they can glom onto is this idea that, oh wow, I'm a real fan of Doctor Who. You aren't because you happen to not be for a female doctor, or didn't happen to like the way they pushed Capaldi out because we need a younger, hipper-looking doctor. It's like you can't even take such stupidity seriously.
Or the stupid schmuck on my comments page, like, you're the man that destroyed the Real Whovians cast. Well, asshole, we're still around like 7 casts after what the fuck you said. So I don't know what you're talking about, but the Real Whovians cast is 1,080 casts as of right now. 1,080 this is.
Is this what... I'm not trying to get specific for any particular reason or anything. I'm just curious, like, what are they referring to? Who are they saying killed?
They think by their words, like they put us in our place, and that I'm leaving, and because I felt defeated by these kids, and I'm not going to do cast anymore because I'm done with Doctor Who. Meanwhile, they're not even watching our cast where I'm saying I'm still watching it. So
well, there's a lot of that going around. There's a lot of little beta male children that they can't hang with the big dogs, and I'm not. This is not a bash cast. I want to get this straight. This is not a bash cast. This is relevant to what the topic we're talking about is. You have a lot of these, like you said, that your cast is going to be destroyed because some little man child came on there that on a Saturday night's not doing anything other than sitting in the dark on a computer, like trolling you or something.
Right. Or making a couple mean comments on my comments page. Big deal. So, and again, we'll probably be Real Whovians cast 1,100 by next week. So,
they need to spend more productive time.
2,000 next year. I mean,
yeah, they need to spend more productive time, like rubbing a genie lamp and wishing to like have a girlfriend or something. Yeah,
you're not going to get rid of me. Sorry. So you're going to be stuck with me for thousands and thousands and thousands of casts. Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
Probably until we have the female 17th Doctor. Watch that actually be true. Yeah, I'll still be doing podcasts. All right. I got to get out of here because it's getting late. So, any closing thoughts, Mike D?
Nothing other than, just don't pay attention to little beta male kids. They, a lot of them, or most of them, I would say, just like to stir up shit, like saying shit on your cast about things and making up false assertions and shit that they know well full to be completely untrue. And they're just trying to cause chaos on your cast, trying to, as you say, run you off from doing your show and cast, because that's like the greatest fulfillment in their life that they are possibly can fulfill is something like that, because they have no
getting rid of the Matrixlord.
They have no success or nothing going on in their life positively, and a lot of these people shamefully know that about themselves, but they try and hang with the alpha people, and they try and hang with the people that will speak their mind and actually are hardcore about shit instead of just being followers and blowing in the breeze.
If I could give some advice in closing thoughts, state your real opinion. If you're going to make videos about Doctor Who, don't worry about anybody else's opinion. Don't worry about anybody labeling you as sexist or racist or calling you a Nazi, because these people are not educated enough to even know what the Nazis were or as big a threat as they were, and they use the word so loosely that it's pathetic.
Well, they heard other people. They heard other people say stuff, and they just repeat it like a parakeet. That's all they do. Right. They don't even come up with their own original thoughts. Because I've seen this too, like both on air and off air, where you make comments about certain things, and you'll hear those same words repeated, and they've never used those words before, and they'll use them back to you, and that's when that's when you know you're really winning, is when they have nothing to say other than what you've put out there,
right?
And they turn around and they use that back. Like I've seen, I've always like joked around about like some of the infantilized man-childs in the community, and I've seen like recently where there's been a couple of times where like a person or a couple of persons has tried to use that back, and it's got no weight to it because there's nothing behind it. It's just saying something. It's kind of like saying, it's like telling somebody like, dude, seriously, go out and get a life. And they're like, well, I know you are, but what am I, sort of thing. And it's like, really? Are you that childish? That's like what a fucking 9-year-old would say. Like, come on, man, grow up, get a life.
So anybody that has an opinion where they are not happy that there's a female doctor and they don't want a female doctor, it's okay to say that. And you don't need to explain yourself why that is the case. And you shouldn't have to. You know, that's like saying, well, why did you eat Jell-O yesterday? Because I wanted Jell-O. You know, well, I don't need to fucking give you a reason. So if anybody is worried about anybody else's opinion, fuck it. Because at the end of the day, you have to be unique and genuine, and you can't be a copy of anybody else. And if you're going to be a successful YouTube channel or whatever, you got to state your own opinions and not worry about anybody else's. Okay? Well, grow a pair, be strong enough to say what's on your mind, what you want, and don't be a copy of anybody else.
Well, the thing is, too, like, I know people have accused you of not being a Who fan, like you've never seen the classic series. You know, we made it into, like, a goof on the show, like, kidding around. You know, like, I've said that to you before and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, if somebody's saying that and they're being serious about it, like, trying to use it as a derogatory sort of statement towards somebody, like, oh, wow, you're not as big a Who fan as I am or whatever. It's like, you know, you can't entertain it as anything other than just like childish silliness, because it's like you know what you've done in your life, you know what kind of fan you are, you know what you've succeeded and won at in life. So it's like you can't really take a little beta child seriously like that. You just got to laugh off and hope one day they grow up.
And some of the jokes that you've said and some of the words you have said, people have used verbatim for their own argument.
I've heard that, and
we've seen that many a times. People didn't even know what the word narcissist was, and the next thing you know, it was like on Sesame Street Whovians, that was the word for the past 5 months is narcissist.
Well,
that everybody used.
Yeah, a couple of people I've been around.
I mean, now they'll probably use sanctimonious or something else.
A couple of people I've been around, and I mean, it's a bit complimentary because it shows you, I guess, just how much they actually look up and respect me. But a couple of people they've used some words that I've used and some phrases about people and stuff, and it's kind of like, well, you know, that's you know, what is it? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So I'm actually flattered by that, and I appreciate the fact that there's such a level of competition there, perceived in their mind. Right. Although they got a long way to go before they reach my level.
And I know how like the joke you used, how I never watched any of the classic Who when I always did, and now everybody says it like it's a common thing because they try to make it like it's real. Sorry to disappoint you, but.
Yeah, and I've said it to you as a joke. I mean, I know I'm goofing on you and stuff, but it's like, you know, there are people.
Many people are trying to believe it. They actually are believing it. Which
they take that up as a mantra because they don't have their original thoughts or ideas, and you know, like I goof on you with the Pyramid of Mars thing and stuff. But and all of a sudden that's taken off to where that's become something that everyone has been saying, and it's like, wow. I mean, you know, I didn't realize I was that influential on people that because. I come on and I goof and joke around and shit, but I mean, apparently these people, they hold me in such high esteem that they'd like to, you know, imitate.
Well, without you, they wouldn't have any original material, I guess.
Well, you know, we saw that with the Who crew too, so.
So you can't go anywhere because then they need new dialogue, I guess. I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know what's going on in those very, very sad lives.
But anyway, keep to yourself with certain things. Other things, like if you want to state an opinion about Doctor Who and you want the Doctor to be a male, just say it. Don't give a crap about. Don't let anybody put pressure on you or whatever. Who gives a shit? Life is too short. Give your opinion. Be strong. Carry on. And take care. Bye for now.